everyone, I'm Pilot George, and that's Flight Attendant's Show. And this week we're going to be leading worship, so follow along with the subtitles. Oh yeah, we haven't practiced that much, but hey, we're just going to wing it.
Good one, Pilot George. There's a cry in my heart for your glory to fall, for your presence to fill up my senses. There's a yearning again, a thirst for discipline, a hunger for things that are deeper. Could you take me beyond? Could you carry me through? If I open my heart, could I go there with you? For I've been here before, yet I know there's still more. Oh Lord, I need to know you. For what do I have if I don't have you, Jesus? What in this life could mean anymore? You are my rock, you are my glory, you are the lifter of my head, the lifter of this head. There's a cry in my heart for your glory to fall, for your presence to fill up my senses. There's a yearning again, a thirst for discipline, a hunger for things that are deeper. Could you take me beyond? Could you carry me through? If I open my heart, could I go there with you? For I've been there before, yet I know there's still more. Oh Lord, I need to know you. For what do I have if I don't have you, Jesus? What in this life could mean anymore? You are my rock, you are my glory, you are the lifter of my head, the lifter of this head. Thank you for joining us.
Welcome to Sunday School. Today we're going to learn that God provides the law. So just as quick review, remember that for 400 years the Israelites were slaves in Egypt. And then God sent Moses and he sent the 10 plagues and he freed his people, brought them out of Egypt, walked them through the Red Sea and into the wilderness. And there he provides them the food and the water and the meat that they need to live. And now God brings them to Mount Sinai, this mountain, and this is where he gives them the law. Today we're going to break down the lesson into 3 main points: mountain, law, and cow. Say it with me. Okay? Mountain, law, and cow. One more time. Mountain, law, and cow. Now I want you to imagine what it would be like to be an Israelite. Imagine you've just seen all the 10 plagues. You've just walked through the Red Sea. You've seen how God has provided all that you need, and now you're told to meet him before on the mountain, Mount Sinai. And you're told you have to clean your clothes. You get yourself ready, right? Because God is a clean God. You need to look presentable before him. And then what do you see when you're looking up at the mountain? You see there's thunder. There's thick clouds swirling around. There's lightning shooting out from around the mountain. More than that, there's fire. There's fire swirling around. It's not like a campfire that's small and comforting and warm. It's like a wildfire. It's everywhere. It's blazing. And there's smoke. There's smoke everywhere. It's thick and it's billowing. And then it's not just these sights. It's also you feel it in the ground. The mountain itself is trembling. You are trembling because the mountain's trembling. And it's not just the sights. And it's not just the feelings, but it's the sounds too. There's a trumpet blast, and it's loud, it's deafening, you can't hear anything else. And all of these things are pointing to the God that is at the top of the mountain. You were told not to go near the mountain or even touch it, or you're going to die. So what does this tell us about God? From looking at the mountain, what do we learn about God? Well, we learn that God is not like the Israelites. God is not like me. God is not like you. This God is something else. The thunder and the lightning and the fire and the smoke and the trembling and the trumpet sound all point to the fact that this God is holy. What does holy mean? And holy means that he is separate, he's perfect, and he's worthy of worship. I'll say it in a kind of sing-songy way, right? Holy means that God is separate, he's perfect, he's worthy of worship. He's separate, he's perfect, he's worthy of worship, right? It's a fun way of remembering that God is holy. And our God is holy. It means that he's not like us, that he's right in all that he does, and that he deserves all our attention and love. Now remember the image of the mountain. Sear it into your head, right? The thunder, the lightning, how tall the mountain is. You're scared a little bit because the earth is trembling and the trumpets are blaring, right? And you see that this God is not like you. He deserves to be worshipped. He is holy. He is totally different. So remember, mountain, law, and cow. We just looked at mountain, and mountain taught us that God is holy. He is separate, perfect, worthy of worship. So remember, mountain, law, and cow. We looked at mountain, now we're going to look at law. So how is a holy God supposed to be approached? A holy God must be approached in a holy way. You can't just treat him like a family member or a friend. God's on a different level, right? So what does God do? God speaks to Moses and gives the Israelites the law. He gives the 10 Commandments and many other laws. But ultimately, these can be summed up in two ways: how we are to treat God and how we are to treat one another. The law tells us what's important to God. For example, when your parents give you rules or they give you laws, they tell you to do things or not to do things because it's important. Right? They tell you to eat your vegetables because your growth is important to them. Or they'll tell you don't hit your brother or sister when you have an argument because we know that we don't treat one another with violence. It's important for you to know that. God's holiness is so important that he gives us the laws to show us how important he is and how that means we're supposed to treat one another. When God gives us the law, he shows us that we are sinful. While God is holy and perfect and separate and worthy of worship, totally other than us, the law shows us that we are sinful. And so what does sinful mean? It simply means that we are full of sin. And sin is rebellion against God. It's breaking God's rules. It's hatred of God. For example, disobeying your parents is a sin. Being jealous of a new toy that your friend has is sin. Playing video games all day can be a sin. And sin, like all things, like all times when you break the rules, there's consequences to it. And God is so serious, he tells us in his law that the consequence of sin is death. The consequence of disobeying a holy and perfect God and being sinful is ultimately our death. So remember, from the law, we see how we are supposed to treat God, who's holy, and how we see more of who we are ourselves as sinful people. So remember, mountain, law, and cow. We saw mountain, God is holy. But then we see that God explains more of his holiness through his law, how we are supposed to treat him, how we're supposed to treat one another, and that we are ultimately sinful people. And finally, we're going to talk about cow. Alright, let's jump back into the Bible story. Now remember, Moses has gone up to the mountain and he's receiving the law from God, and the people are down at the bottom of the mountain. And so imagine for yourself, it's been over a month and you start to forget the God that you saw at the mountain. So they ask Aaron, Moses' brother, and they say to him, make us a God for us. Make a God for us to worship. And Moses and Aaron is like, okay. And so he says, give me all your gold. So he takes all their gold and he mashes it and forms it and makes it into a cow. Makes a gold cow. And he says, Israel, this is your God that saved you from Egypt. This is your God that you are to worship. So they all start to bow down and worship this golden cow. This is idolatry. This is loving things other than God and treating them like God. And so what do we learn from cow? Well, we learn that we're just like the Israelites. How often do we forget God and trust and love other things in life, other idols? Video games. We spend all our time playing video games. Or we care so much about our grades and we think if I have a better grade, then I'll have a better life. Or we think we are sinful. And remember, the consequence of sin that we see from the law is punishment. And that's cow. Cow teaches us that there are idols in our life that we'll quickly give our attention and our love to and then not give it to God. So one last time. Mountain, law, and cow. From mountain, we saw that God is holy. God is not like us. He's separate. He's perfect. He's worthy of worship. Right? He's so different from us. We saw from the smoke and the trembling and trumpets blaring, this God is not like me. He is different. And he deserves my worship. So we saw that God is holy. And then how do we relate to a holy God? We know that from his law. He gives us the rules of how we're supposed to approach him and how we treat one another, your friends, your family, everybody. And from the law, we see that we're sinful and the consequence of sin is punishment. And we see from cow that there are idols in our life, that there are things that we trust in, things that we hope in, things that we give all our attention to that's not God. The point of how God gives the law is that God is holy and man is sinful and we can never get to God. But this is the good news. God sent his son to come down on earth and live that perfect life. And then the punishment that you and I deserve, Jesus Christ, God's son, came and took all of that punishment, dying on the cross for our sins. And he rose to life 3 days later, so that if we have faith in him, we can also rise and have new life. We can be with that holy God on the mountain, because by trusting in Jesus, we're now sons of God too. So that's the good news, but that doesn't come till much later. But here it is, one last time, so you remember: mountain, law, cow. Have a good Sunday.
Alright, welcome to Memory Verse. Today we're going to learn Exodus 22-3. So we're going to read it first, and then we're going to kind of understand some of the words in it, and then we're going to try to memorize it. So let's read it first. 1, 2, 3. I am the Lord your God. You shall have no other gods before me. Exodus 20:2-3. So if we remember in the story, this is when God was talking to the Israelites through Moses, and he gave them the law. So what does it mean when God says, I am the Lord your God? What does it mean for God to be Lord?
means that God guides the way that we live. He gives us rules about what to do and what not to do, and therefore are good. Like when your parents say, you have to look both ways before you cross the street, or don't touch the stove because it's really, really hot and you're gonna burn your finger on it. So the law that God gives us is for our good, and they're also for His glory. When God gives the law to the Israelites, they start to live differently than the rest of the world. And when the rest of the world looks around and sees the Israelites living like that, they know that these are God's people and that they are set apart by God. So what does it mean to have no other gods? What are examples of some other gods? If we remember in the story, the Israelites built a golden calf, a big golden statue that they sang to and they worshipped and they loved very much. So idols are things that we worship or that we love more than God. And this might not look like some golden statues in your life, but it can be things like money, like TV or phone time, our favorite toys, food or school, or even our friends. And these are not bad things. These are good things that God gives to us. God gives us good things so that we enjoy them. But when we start to love them more than we love God, then they start to become idols. So why should God be the one that we worship? Why aren't we to have other gods before Him? We know that God is worthy. He created the whole universe. He created you and me, and He created all our favorite things that we love a lot. And if we love these things a lot, how much more should we love God who created them? God loved us so much that He sent His Son Jesus to die for us so that we can be in a relationship with Him and we can worship God. Alright, now we're going to start to memorize our verse. So we're going to say the verse, and then we're going to take down a couple of the blocks, and then we're going to say it over and over again until we've memorized it, and then we've knocked down all of our idols. So 1, 2, 3. I am the Lord your God. You shall have no other gods before me. Exodus 20, 2 through 3. I think first let's take down your God and the Lord. Alright, let's read it one more time. I am the Lord your God. You shall have no other gods before me. Exodus 20, 2 through 3. Okay, I think now we can take down maybe I am. Let's get rid of other gods. Alright, let's read it one more time. I am the Lord your God. You shall have no other gods before me. Exodus 20, 2 through 3. I think it's time we take down some more idols, some more blocks. So we're going to take those down, cover that up, see if we can say the verse now. Alright, ready? I am the Lord your God. You shall have no other gods before me. Exodus 20, 2 through 3. Alright, thanks for joining me for Memory Verse, guys. I hope you guys had fun knocking down your idols and having no other gods before the God of Israel.
Today we're going to be reading a book called Why Do We Say Good Night by Champ Thornton, illustrated by Ramel Roots. In peace I will lie down and sleep. Lord, you alone keep me safe. Psalm 4:8. Why do we say good night? When nighttime comes and no more light, you get in bed, we say good night. But it's dark and I can't see. Why do you say good night to me? It's not the same when there's no light. The dark's not good. I don't like night. I'm glad you told me how you feel, but stop and think, what else is real? The Lord made day, the Lord made night, so even dark is good and right. But you can't see when dark surrounds. What is that shape? What is that sound? Yet God sees all, His sight's not dim. The dark is like bright light to Him. So when it's dark with perfect sight, our God is watching through the night. But I'm so scared when you're away. Can night be good just like you say? Yes, God can see when you're in bed, when scary thoughts run through your head. But there is more for you to hear. We say goodnight 'cause God is near. Just like a shepherd guards his sheep, the Lord protects when we're asleep. Please help me, Lord, to trust in you for all you are and all you do. Lord, you made the night and you can see. You're the shepherd who cares for me. Since God is with you in the night, since he made nighttime good and right, since God can see without the light, all this is why we say good night. Good night, dear one, you need not fear. Good night, sleep well, the Lord is here. Good night.
Hi guys, my name is Caleb and today we will make an origami cat. First, you will need 2 pieces of origami, a pencil, and that's all. So, now Natalie, my sister, will be making the cat. With the sheet of paper, you'll first need to fold it in half. Make sure your creases are sharp so it's easier to make.
Hey Natalie, Caleb's watching Beyblade.
Now unfold it and fold it the other way. Now you'll need to fold it so it forms a triangle on the side. And do the other way. Now we will take this corner and this corner and fold it into this crease. And you'll have this. Then you'll flatten down the top. So the finished product should look like this. Just like that. Now you're gonna fold up a little bit like this. And then you're gonna fold down, which then makes the nose. Now you're gonna flip it over and fold this part all the way up. Just like that. And right here, these are the ears, which then you'll fold up. And then you have cat head. This part will fold down later. So this is the body. So first you fold it into another triangle. And fold. Now we're going to take these 2 corners and fold them in toward the middle crease. Now we fold it in half and rotate it like this. Now you'll take the body and the head and put the body up this little crease and up to here in the head. Now you fold back the head, the top part of the head. So now you have the full head and the body. Now the body, you're gonna fold up the tail, and if you want, you can have it going anyway. or like this, kind of like that. That's how you make a cat. And if you want, you can add the eyes. And a mouth. Just like that. Ta-da!
I've got a secret to tell. Come on and hear me out.